and more flexibility in my schedule. So I ultimately would like to go more part-time with anesthesia and do more of the injectables, but that's able to be done since it is my own business around my own schedule.
Okay. All right. If you would repeat, so apparently there's a whole second button that you have to push for it to actually go live on Facebook. So the first few minutes didn't, but now we're live on Facebook, which is great.
Okay.
So let me back up so that we can just give people kind of an idea of what we're doing here. And thank you for your patience with me, because this is my first live stream on this group and in general ever. So, you know, these things happen. So I'm Ann Konkoly, founder of Authentic Coaching. I run the Side Hustles for APRN group. I'm here today with Cassie. We are talking about how she got started in a side hustle and the current side hustle that she does in addition to working as a CRNA in Virginia. So this is going to be very interesting to you guys, many of you who are interested in injectables and aesthetics. And I know there are several of you in this group who are wondering, if I wanted to do neuromodulators, injectables, how would I do that? But welcome, welcome, Cassie. Thank you for your patience with me. So glad to have you. Okay, so you and I just talked before we were actually live. We just talked a little bit about your business. Can you, would you be willing to start just by telling people your website again, and then what you do full-time and then this part-time, you know, in a recap, please?
So I'm Cassie Lane. I'm a nurse anesthetist, and I have started my side hustle is kind of two-pronged. One is I'm an aesthetic injector. It's my own business. I'm independent. I employ a medical director. I pay him. In Virginia, we do have to have a medical director as a CRNA. And I also started a website. It's injectablesedu.com, and that's for other medical providers who are interested in starting their own injectables practice, and it gives a ton of basics. It helps walk you through figuring out what your regulations are in your state. It's mostly business oriented. There's a lot for nurse practitioners in there. It's very, since I'm a nurse practitioner, it is very focused on that, because we do have some unique issues that we have to deal with trying to get started, and it's variable by state, which makes it interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Out of curiosity, what made you go with the injectables route?
It started with, you know, a friend of mine who she was getting Botox, and I was just really intrigued. I didn't even ever get Botox until I took my first class. Even though I was interested in it, I started out more so just being like, I could do that. It seems really fun and interesting, and I could do that. And I could tell that my friend really loved it. And then I started realizing that a ton of my friends were getting Botox, and I had no idea. And they looked really natural. They looked great. And I was like, wow. So I was more interested in performing the treatments. It is kind of cool because I have a strong background with like needles, you know, like we're the IV experts, epidural, blocks. So I felt really comfortable with that, and this seemed like a fun application of it. But I was so more interested in the skill. And then I got Botox and fillers for the first time at my course, and I was like, loved it. I thought that my results were amazing, and I was totally surprised that I was converted, and just thought that it was so natural looking and really accentuates your best features. It's not changing you, it accentuates what are the great things about you. And I think people think Botox is about you feel bad about yourself and you want to feel good. And I think in the way I practice is making you feel even better and bringing out the best features.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yours was kind of like, oh, I think I do this. I mean, I totally do this because I have some people who need it, and those are skills I have. And yes, I could do this. Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
And then I became a true believer once I started getting it. I was like, oh, it's a good thing I'm doing this, because now I need to afford this treatment.
Yeah, no, exactly. What did you do a certificate? I think it said a certification course. Where did you take it, and who'd you use?
I took a course. Her name's Suzanne Jagger. She's a CRNA. She's out of Portland. She historically had done kind of a CRNA only class, and this is perfect timing because she's really starting to expand out and wants to do it for all NPs. But she is keeping it specific to just NPs, which I think is great because there's a certain like level of skill and baseline knowledge that is already there. And it is a specific implications with being the NP about navigating certain business implications, which she talks about. And she just is a very good in-depth anatomy, like really fun course. And she travels all over the country. So I highly recommend her. On my website, I do also provide anybody who signs up for my mailing list comparison chart of all the big nationwide courses. You'd be surprised how many there are. Some big names like Empire, American Medical Training, but I do like a side-by-side. It's hard to get the information about like, okay, how much does it cost? Is the product included? How many hours is this? And it breaks it down in a table side-by-side to really, and it says all the cities they go to that I think, because even just picking your class is not easy when you're trying to get started, because you feel like, I don't want to waste, it's thousands of dollars for a course, and there's spectrums of how much they can be, but you don't want to waste thousands of dollars to not feel like you're ready to walk out the door and inject. And so I just made that chart for myself to try and pick, and just because I felt like I wanted to pick the best one. And there's nothing out there, nothing comparing these courses. So that's kind of how I got my initial idea to make this website, was to provide that.
Good for you. Okay. I guess one of the only kind of other questions I'm interested about is if you had to give, an advanced practice nurse in this group some small piece of advice or recommendation, whether it's related to aesthetics, injectables, or just starting a side hustle, what would you recommend? Like, what would be that kind of like one tip that really helped you, or that you think could help someone else?
I'll give you one tip in general and one tip for aesthetics, because I have a good one for both of those. One in general is find somebody that is doing what you're doing. Whether with social media now, it's even better if you can find somebody in a different state that maybe you won't be their direct competition, but find somebody that will talk to you. And for me, that was Suzanne Jagger. I mean, she really answered a ton of my questions. She let me interview her for my website. And this was before I had paid her a dime for a class. So find somebody who's willing to talk. It might not be the first person. And I try and pass that help along to people as well. Because they're going to kind of drill down and help you see a better big picture and just help you get that information. The one tip I would say for injectables, sorry about that.
Okay.
One tip I would say for injectables is before your class, do the research, like know some of the business basics, have a plan. You don't want to get to your class and realize, like in Alabama, I'm pretty sure CRNAs can't inject at all or something like that. Like, you don't want to realize that you're not going to be able to do this in the fashion that you had wanted to. And there's so much information being thrown at you. Like, there's a book on my site that I recommend that's like a basic Botox book. Read that cover to cover before you go. You don't want to be learning and seeing this anatomy and stuff for the first time at your class, because so much of it will go over your head. You want to already have like a basic knowledge as much as you can before you're going and doing your first injections. It'll give you such a leg up. And I also walk through, like, I'm right now working on a post about what are the steps you should do before your course. So that's top of mind for me. But it's like, do as much as you can so you walk away from your course and you're ready to inject your first client as quickly as possible, because it's not fast to get all the accounts set up that you need to get started.
Okay, so find somebody who's a step ahead of you, number one. Number two, do your homework so that you are ready, you invest wisely, and you are ready to go once you get in there and get the training and certification. Okay. Anything else? Anything else that you would like to share, about either your side hustle or your work, or injectables, anything else that you think could be useful for our group?
I think it's been really fun being an entrepreneur and, doing this for your own goals has really reinvigorated me. In some ways, I feel the same way I did when I was first learning anesthesia, just so excited about it, so passionate. It's fun to be a learner again. It's fun to take on this new challenge. It really has invigorated me and given me something for me. I've got young kids. This is my thing that I get to do. And I've had multiple moments where I've been like, why did I do this? You have the highs are high and the lows are low when it's just you and on your own thing. But I would say the highs overall have much outweighed it. And but you do have to really want it, because there's going to be, for anybody, multiple times where you're going to wish that you had not gotten yourself into this, because you'll hit roadblocks. And so I think you have to be ready to really work for it. But I think that those pay off. There's so much more when it's really for you.
I agree. Good for you. Yes. Excellent advice from Cassie about, yes, be prepared. Highs are highs, lows are lows. And, you just keep going. This is the, I think, credo of any entrepreneur, to be honest, keep going. So, okay, very good. Cassie, thank you so much. It was so nice to hear about your side hustle, and really so helpful, I think, for so many people in this group. So thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your patience with me navigating this first Facebook Live streaming, which is super exciting. I plan to do more of these. And if you are out there in this group and you would like to be interviewed and you want to talk about your side hustle, please send me a message. I would love to have you and chat about it. So, all right, Cassie, we will see you soon. Good to see you. Thanks a bunch.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.